This is, for reference, this is 5 yellow belts of ore, of chromium ore. That's why I brought 300, because I knew that this is mining time 200%, so it's 60 mining drills per yellow belt. Just some of these things that I think about ahead of time, briefly ahead of time. But yeah, so that's that, and this will all combine. Where's my like warehouse combination system? Yeah, right here. This. Oh, come on, autosave. No, no, it ate my copy. I hate when it does that. I hate when it does that. It just eats your copy. That was not correct. That was not a correct thing. That is a correct thing. That is how you do that. Yes, that is good. So this is a single compressed belt, yellow belt. That's why 5 is a magic number. What is the coalpocalypse? So the coalpocalypse is that King has now changed things so that coal, vanilla coal, the only patch you get of it is in your starting area. Everything else will be raw coal. So now, in order to continue getting coal from patches, from ore patches, you will have to process raw coal. That is what that is referring to. And that was like a brand new thing just added. Someone was like, "Hey, we need to be able to use raw coal. Have it have a purpose." To which my brain is thinking, "No, don't do it. Don't do it. Bad idea. No." And they did it anyway. They did it anyway. So, yeah, now raw coal is required just by virtue of it being the only source of mineable coal outside of your starting area. That's King, that's what I just said. It's like it probably is a setting. It's not a setting. It should be a setting. Should be an option. Frankly, it's useful just be like quote unquote useful because there is no other point to raw coal's existence. If you have vanilla coal patches, you have no good reason to do raw coal processing. The only problem is that processing of raw coal will require you to have access to secondary crushers, and you'll have to deal with crushed coal and coal dust in the early game. So you'll need to be able to do this processing at least through secondary crushers and through automated screeners. I don't remember which parts at green science processing of the raw coal and which is at red, but my point being it could be very easy to run out of your starting patch's coal before you are able to build the infrastructure for getting coal out of raw coal. You could potentially even run out before you get the titanium to like do any sort of voiding. But in this case, all these things have fuel values, so it's like, well, how are we going to void our crushed coal? How are we going to void our coal dust? Well, there are ways. There is one very specific way, and that is to shove it into a boiler and then have the boiler attached to a tailings pond, and the tailings pond will void the steam. That is how you do that. And then the actual, coarse coal, the end, quote unquote, of this chain would be green science. So it's like, good luck getting to green science with only the one coal patch. So the way you're going to have to, there is a way out, by the way. If you do run out of initial coal and you haven't gotten to the point that you can do raw coal processing yet, you'll have to do biotic means of getting coal. There are biotic means of getting coal that you'll have to do instead. But you should, at that point, be able to convert wood to coal. So, well, that's the idea, Infantryman, is that raw coal would have purpose with this change. That is the idea. All right, so 300. 60 times 5 is 300. Yes. 300. 300. This thingy. You all need to, like, all these trees need to go. Goodbye, trees. Goodbye, trees. That's termite bots, by the way. Nanobots has this nice little ammo called termite bots. That's what they're used for. Do I want this oriented this way or this way? It depends. I'll do it. I'll just do it here. Sure. Oh, it's 400. That's enough. That's enough. Oh, you don't have wood for all this? I need pipe to ground. Yes, pipe would be nice. Pipe would be very nice. Where's my car? All the way up here. Of course it's all the way up here. Hello, car. Do you have pipe? No. Of course you don't have pipe. You have belt in you. You don't have pipe. Yes, no wood with the termites. The termites will destroy the patches of trees without flooding your inventory with the wood, which is a good thing. It is a very good thing. Also, I'm going to take this opportunity and remove all of this belt here. Be very careful. Being very careful. Alright. I need to find a way to deal with 15 per second of ash, just by the by. I need to deal with 15 per second of ash. I have several. I have a way of dealing with 15 per second of stuff. So that'll be one of these. Really? There's a tree in the way? Can I load the ash onto trains? Sure. Am I going to? Hell no. Hell no. We're going to avoid it. I already have a setup for ash. consistent source of ash, 15 per second. Why would I want another? Out here, of all things. I need the syngas. That's why we're here. I need the syngas. Not even all the syngas. It won't even be 15 per second of ash being produced because it's gonna back up on the syngas. Glorious bedding that I'm doing absolutely nothing with right now. For reference, we spent all that time making the bedding. We're not actually doing anything with it yet. We had the opportunity to, decided against it. Let's see. How's this doing? Just keeping an eye on this. We've got 356. Yes, it would be better just to void the flue gas instead of convert it, but this is a copy-pasted setup that focused on the ash. Yes, the flue gas would be probably... It would be smaller in volume and not take the fuel from the burners, and I'd need less burners, but consider that... Oh, I've actually got to do that, too. Consider that it's 3... It's 3 of the vents, the gas vents, each. So 3 times 4-ish to void the flue gas fast enough. How do you ash liquid? You can't make ash out of... Well, I say that. You can get ash out of specific liquids, but you can't ash all liquid. So ash, I think there's like a tailings or something. All right, every single void recipe that's in the stupid thingy. Yeah, tailings with filtration media into ash and water. This is a completely pointless recipe. Why does this even exist? I have no idea. Yeah, just no. Who in their right mind? Who in their right mind would see this and think that that is a good idea? Like, they're planned on designs, by the way. This was brought up by Immortal, who asked if something was bad, why does it exist? That's how Py's mind works. Just for reference, it's different from most of us. See, Pyandon wants there to be objectively bad recipes, so that people can make the mistake of using those recipes. The problem is, I think he sort of shortchanges the intelligence of the people who play his mods at times. It takes a certain type of mind to get to these points in the like to actually really play through the Py Suite. You need a certain way of thinking to really get anything done, and the only people who are ever going to complete the mod pack are going to be the ones who actively avoid all of those bad recipes. Like, so the point that I like to make, and the point that not infantryman, it was names Immortal Sniper brought up was, if it's objectively bad recipe, why does it exist? If it's objectively an inefficient bad recipe, as in it's a net negative of stuff, it doesn't like work, why does it exist in the first place? Because we're coming from a perspective of actual good, intelligent game design, which tells us that everything exists for a reason, and natural progression dictates that subsequent recipes need to be better than their previous recipes. in terms of output. There needs to be a improvement in output of efficiency with more complex recipes. That is often not the case in the Pi suite, especially with a number of things added in Pi Alien Life. Sometimes the next more complex process is objectively worse than a less complex process. In this case, he was talking about Falgi for regular mushrooms. The fact that just adding spores and water is a better process overall than adding substrate. So if we look at the mushroom recipes, there's like all these recipes, right, for the mushrooms. Everything past spores and water is objectively worse than the spores and water. Like everything that follows is objectively worse than spores and water. In terms of like efficiency and all that. Some of these actually take more to make than what it ends up producing. So we've got all these fungal substrate stuff and manure additions. Yeah, it's objectively worse. How does one fix it? I mean, frankly, kill every other one of these recipes because they're all pointless. After Falgi, spores, and water, it's all pointless. So just delete all of it. There is no way to make this better. There is no way to make this better. I get the concept. Higher product output for inputs, but these inputs are way too expensive to make in the current balance. Like the manure itself is not easy enough to make to be worth it to spend it on mushrooms, on Falgi. Because remember, we're talking about just Falgi. The rate of production of stuff that you would need to get the amount of Falgi that you need for these other processes, it's simply too much. It's simply too much, which is why it will always be better just to stick with spores and water. So the rock hole thing isn't actually technically in the game yet. I suppose I haven't really been paying too much attention to it. All I know is that there was talk about it the other day. Anyway, let's like play the game. I'm down here to get pipe to grounds. Yeah, that's why we're here, is to get these things. You know, pipes are good. Pipes are lovely and awesome and magnificent and wonderful, and we've got things that we need to take care of. How many not enough. Not enough. That is the answer. Not enough. How many? Not enough. How many of XYZ? Not enough. Off we go. I haven't even thought about what the actual process is going to be that we're going to be doing with this Chromium. Just FYI. I haven't even given any thought as to the exact process we're going to be doing. How deep in the chain we're going to go. How deep we can go without niobium. That's the other complicated factor here. Complicating factor. Because we can't do any process that involves a building that uses niobium. So no hydrocyclones. Cannot insert gas vent. Player inventory full. Oh noes! Our inventory's full. Oh noes! Any hoozle. Oh, all the pipes. Okay, that should be good now. Now to kill all of these things. all of these things. This is the bulk of the ash, by the way, is the flue gas conversion. Now it's not going to be compact anymore. Quote unquote, compact. As if it was compact to begin with. Right. One of those. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. How do I know it's 3 off the top of my head? Experience. 133. Each vent is capable of voiding 60 units per second of a gas. So you need 3 to fully process 133. Assuming that everything is operating at 100% capacity, which it's not. Just by the by. Yeah, and I now have too many, technically, of these. It won't matter. It won't matter in the slightest in the end. You can die. Okay, let's get the, pipes going. Need to actually get the syngas brought down. Oh, got this nice little spot right here. Okay. That'll be the syngas. That's the tar in right here. Pick these up. Right, so I need to grab a tar extractor, 2 tar extractors, because this is going to be lot 300. It's not going to be 300. It's going to be like 120 something, 150 something ish. Ultimately, just because this loops a lot of tar. About a little under half the tar gets processed back from the output on the syngas. Just reduces the amount in. By the way, there used to be a time, cough cough, that this recipe accepted productivity modules. Guess what happened when these accepted productivity modules? At higher mark levels of these buildings with more module slots. Yeah, they ended up outputting more tar than the coal gas had in. So it was self-perpetuating net positive tar as well. Yay! Love loops. It doesn't do that anymore. They don't take productivity modules anymore. I was so sad when that changed. I may or may not be partly to blame for it changing, for reference. I can just keep going up, and away, and we'll hit a string of power. Pretty sure Immortal Sniper was like, "Don't tell Pyadon this. I like this process. Don't tell him." It's like, but it's broken. But it's broken. Anyway. That would be that. This is powered. Yes, power. We've got power. Good. How deep in the Chromium chain are we gonna go? that is the question of the day. So we don't have molten access yet, so it's all going to be processing of chromite sand. Why would I ever spend coke? I mean, clearly I'm going to process the chromite sand with sand castings and not coke. That is a that is obviously not a good idea. On the face of it. On the face of it, that is not a good idea. So, three potential processes. We've got grade 1, grade 3, grade 4. We've also technically got the rich dust, so we could just not mine chromium and just make whatever amount that we need locally, just, shove in stuff. But we need niobium first to get the sand extractors, to get the rich dust. You can do it without sand extractors as well, but it's an even bigger setup. This is space. This is space and power. Just for reference, you can get chromite sand without actually mining chromium. It's just really big and it's a lot of power. And it's more ideal if you're using iron sticks to get the rich dust. But yeah, you can totally just do soil into sand into rich dust. It's cool when you do that, but particularly it's not particularly the best idea unless your plan is to get everything without mining it. That might be an interesting challenge to just make a spawn a map without any resources whatsoever and see what you can do. Just have access to water and that's it. Hey, there's a name for that. It's called Pyblock. And it will be updated soon, right, King? There's a name for this concept. And it'll be updated soon. So something tells me that if I'm remembering this correctly, one of these uses hydrocyclone. Yep, that uses hydrocyclone, and the problem with the hydrocyclone is it's niobium pipes, so we cannot go up to grade 4. Can we go to grade 3? I think we can do grade 3, so that's what we'll do. Ha! King is literally working on it right now. Cool. Gee, if only there was a way to make a map that doesn't have any resources spawned on it that would force us to use these alternative methods of getting access to the raw resources. Huh. If only there was a mod that allowed us to do that. Yep. There is. Alright, so now I know the process that we're going to do. We're going to go through grade 3 processing for our chromium. We're going to bring up raw ores. We're going to grab a chromium from chromite sand using sand castings. We're going to get the chromite sand from grade 3 chromite. And that's going to have both of these, so we're going to need to have the matrix solver on for this. Grade 2. Get down there. And the grade 1. Alright, and then flip it. Because we are going to be doing 75 ore in. Order is a little bit off. Maybe. Something... Yeah, this needs to go... What is up with my order here? I hate this sometimes. Why is it not doing its thing? Because that needs to be there. There we go. Now we've fingered things out. Maybe. Maybe. What produces the rejects? I am missing a step. Oh, it's the... Oh, so I don't even... Yeah, die. It's just grade 3. Yeah, and 2 back to 1, and... Yeah, that is that. So... Stuffs. Let's see. So yeah, that's stuffs, things. We've got... Oh, it's always somewhat depressing, by the way, when you see 75 ore in, 19.45 plates out. This is always somewhat depressing. Somewhat depressing. When you see, oh, it's so much in, we're so little out. But this is only because we cannot do the next, I guess, 2 steps because we don't have the building. We can't make the building yet until we have niobium. And guess what? We're doing all this for! Guess what we're doing all this for? Anyway, summary. Pin. Summary. Yes, these are the things that I need to know. I also need to know what the other inputs are, like what all of the inputs are here. That is a lot of sand castings. That is a lot of CO2 as well, just for reference. You were told that the next steps on Chromium weren't that great? Eh. Well, it would be nice to get up to the grade 4 at the very least, but going into Molten would be the most important part. Going into Molten would be great, but as it turns out, I don't have access to Molten yet. Molten would be like the most ideal. So we've got stuffs, things. Where's my car? Car? Vehicle! Vehicle? I need you, vehicle. You need to, like, get some of this stuff put away. Yeah, grab all that. Yes, you do go molten from the chromite sand, but you're going to want to have the most efficient process of getting chromite sand. Chromium is one of the ore processing chains that has the most options associated with it. Chromium processing has, I think, objectively the most potential options for you in the processing of it, because it's based off of this concept of having a chromite sand, and there's a whole bunch of ways of getting chromite sand, and then no matter what way you do to get that sand, it can be converted into molten or reduced and sintered and then converted into molten. But there's a whole bunch of ways that end up just outputting the chromite sand. Like, everything practically goes into the chromite sand first. So it's ultimately up to you what you want to do and how you get the chromite sand. Anyway, I'm here for buildings. I'm here for all of this buildings. That is a lot of solid separators. That is a few solid separators. I've got 20. I've got 20. Let's do this. Let's see. We need stuffs. This stuffs. We need these stuffs. We need castings. Jaw crushers. And of course, you know, voiding. Voiding is nice. Gold is nice too. Gold is the primary reason for going up the Chromium chain. I think it would always be worth it going up that chain. Unless you have infinites of power spare. If you have infinites of power spare, it's probably going to be a lot easier just to particle accelerate your gold, because it ends up not, or at least it was, previous to Alien Life. I don't think it has changed, though. Gold was not used particularly much, so it was completely within reason to particle accelerate your gold, rather than do the actual gold processing chain, but that may have changed with Alien Life, and it's definitely changed for me because I am using Bob's modules. I have Bob's modules on this playthrough, which means that every single one of my modules uses gold. Every single one of my modules uses gold in the form of gold contacts, module contacts. So I will need lots and lots and lots of gold on this playthrough if I plan on making Bob's modules to any extent. I will need lots of gold. Also, every single one of the modules is sort of locked behind Circuit 2s, so I can't do anything with modules until at least Circuit 2s. And I can't even get a trickle. I could get a trickle of gold plates now, but I can't make any of these until Circuit 2s. So that's the thing. That is the thing. I think my bots are a little busy after I disturbed things. Gold is technically considered to be a purple science thing. Just for reference, gold is technically purple on its actual production. So making gold through Chromium, the actual gold processing chain, doesn't happen until purple science. The ability to particle accelerate for the gold, though, that is as early as blue, or / Circuit 2s, once you get access to doing particle acceleration and are able to make the proton donors that will be required, which will require boron, and going through the whole boron processing chain from borax. Which, hey, guess what? That is another consumer of refined syngas and hydrogen chloride. It is a huge consumer of both refined syngas and hydrogen chloride on that last step of making boron.